Yo, what's going on? Welcome to Generation Red, and we're back with another season so far video. We did recap the first 10 games of Salford's 23-24 EFL League 2 campaign, and we're going to look at the next 10 games that we've just recently played against Gillingham away.
Shawty on the beat.
October, obviously the start of the season wasn't great. If anything, it's been a bit of a disaster start to the season. A lot of new players coming into the team, still working on gelling, especially the back four. You know, it's a lot of players that came in the summer and are still sort of gelling on the job, which is never ideal. Ideally, we should have been getting them in at the start of the transfer window, having a pre-season with them, rather than sort of learning on the job the first few games of the season. But also, injury hasn't helped Salford season so far. It's been nothing short of a nightmare, really. Key players getting big injuries as well for weeks. Callum Hendry's been out. Elliot Watt started the season out. Shepherd's been out. Theo's been out. It's just been a constant stream of injuries for the start of the season. But the good news is players are starting to come back into the squad, and I think we've seen that in October. We'll go through the games, but in October I feel like it was the best month for Salford. The majority of Salford's wins came that month in October, and we played some really good football. I think you could really start to see things clicking. Injured players started coming back into the squad as well, but we will go through it. So starting with the first game, this was Harrogate Town away, and we did pick up another loss of the season, 3-2. I thought we played decent football at times in this game, but we were just wasteful. We were wasteful going forward, and we were really poor at the back, conceding 3 goals. The goals, of course, did come from the consistent Matt Smith, and he's been putting the ball in the back of the net all season. But Salford did, unfortunately, throw the game away. 2-1 down at half-time, and the game finished 3-2 away on the road. The formation for this game was 4-1-4-1, but we did have a lot of injuries. This is the game I feel like the injuries really hit us hard. You know, we had a lot of young lads in the squad. Liam Humble started. Kelly and Myles was in the squad again. Marcus Dackers was in the squad. Pedro, Collins, Henderson and Olapeda. I mean, it shows, obviously, these lads are coming through and putting in performances when they are being asked to. But the fact we're having, 5 or 6 under 21 players in the squad away on the road against Harrogate just shows how impactful the injuries have been at the start of the season so far. Liam Humbles did play well in that game. Obviously, he was replaced towards the back end, and Kelly and Maya again shone in that game as well. He brings a lot of energy. He's what we were sort of missing with Salford, especially with Callum Hendry being out. We were missing a bit of a bright spark up front, and Kelly and Maya's really brought that since he's come into the squad this season as well. So it's been great watching Kelly and Maya and Liam Humbles, who did save a game for us within this next 10 that we're going to go through. On the road, you'd usually expect the home team to have the better possession. However, we did have 56% of the possession in this game against Harrogate. We did manage 5 shots on target out of 18 compared to 7 of Harrogate's 16. Of the 7 times Cairns had to stop the ball, he managed to save 3 of them, coming away from the game with a 42% save statistic. 2 yellow cards from Salford. I said in the last 10, discipline has been a bit of a thing for us. We've had a few red cards this season. We seem to be getting the majority of yellow cards in games. But 2 is a good number compared to some of the games we've had where we've walked away with 4 or 5. But again, going off the first 10 games, Salford didn't accept the ball 12 times compared to Harrogate 6 times. So we are winning the ball in the midfield and in the defence, where you'd obviously typically expect it to be intercepted, but we're just not turning it over going forward. And the defence hasn't been great this season, let's be honest. We're giving away weak goals, especially in games where we're just letting them run at us. Wrexham was a prime example of it, which we'll go into. But we did start this next block of 10 games on the road with a loss against Harrogate Town, which I also think is the first time Harrogate Town have beat Salford. I might be wrong, let me know in the comments. Next game at home was Burnley. We're not going to talk about Burnley because they battered us. 4-0. Next. Game 2 of the block was Newport at home. 2-1 win. Now, I do think Salford got lucky in this game. We didn't play particularly well. It's good to see Salford getting 3 points when they're not playing well, because there has been times this season, which we'll go into, especially in this block, where we've played really good football, but we've just come away with a loss. And it seems to be a story for Salford so far this year. But Newport, we didn't play particularly well. The game wasn't great. We did manage a 2-1 win. Matty Lund scored, and Kelly and Mai, for me, should have been gifted that goal. It did go down as an own goal from Drysdale, but Kelly and Mai, really good bit of football, individual bit of football, took on a few players, played it across the box, and it's come off Drysdale and gone in. So yeah, we're going to give it you, Kelly. We'll give it you. Salford did play this game with a 4-3-3 formation, and we did have, like you would expect at home, the higher possession rate of 54%. But it was a close game. Newport put it on us over and over again. We were quite lucky at the back end of the game where they had 10 minutes of just dominance. And we were doing the same thing. We've done it all year. We've allowed them to run at us and take shots. And luckily in this game we got fortunate. You know, they didn't manage to convert them, but it has happened numerous times, especially the second half. We've just allowed teams to get on the front foot and pressure us. We seem to be putting 10 men behind the ball, trying to win it on the edge of our own box, and then blasting it up to Matt Smith and hoping he can do something. And it's not working. For me, we're a much better team when the ball is on the ground and we are playing football. This happened against Peterborough in the second half. We did it against Mansfield, a game that we'll go into later. But we do play good football. The first half against Wrexham, which we'll go into. When the ball is on the floor, Salford are a much, much better team. And in this game, we got the 3 points. We'll take it, especially after the run we was on. But yeah, it was a scrappy game. In this game, out of the 10 shots we did take, 2 hit the target, both being goals. Obviously, one was classed as an own goal. That's compared to 15 shots that Newport had, 5 of them hitting the target. So, we did get quite lucky in this game. Alex Cairns in this game was great. Made a couple fantastic saves. The 4 times he was asked, 3 of them he saved. So we finished the game with a 75% statistic. Cairns, for me, has been great this year. He's been unlucky with a few games. And, like I said earlier, he is dealing with a back four, still learning to gel on the job. So it's not been easy for him. But when he has been asked to make a big save, he has done this. We've seen it in the Leeds game, specifically the Peterborough game. There's been a few times this season where Cairns pulled off some unbelievable saves. So it's been a difficult start to the year for Cairns as well. Next game, we was on the road again at Sutton. Now, this was a 2-0 win. I actually thought Salford played really, really well in this game. We deserved the win. We played Sutton off the park. We were unlucky this wasn't 4 or 5-0 in my opinion. We hit the post, I think it was 3 times. But considering we picked the 3 points up against Newport with a result where we were sort of scrappy and maybe didn't deserve to pick up the 3 points, I feel like we definitely did against Sutton. And it was a big 3 points. We needed the 3 and we got there. Matt Smith and Kelly and Mai again, both on the score sheet with Salford playing a 4-3-3 formation. Now again, on the road, we did come away with the highest possession stats. So 57% of the ball was in Salford's possession. Out of the 11 shots we managed, 5 did hit the target, and Alex Cairns walked away with a clean sheet and a 100% save statistic. 3 yellow cards in this game, 7 interceptions over Sutton's 9, so they did win the ball off us more, but we were more clinical when we had it, which I can't say has been the subject of Salford's conversation throughout the season. So, really good performance for Salford. We walked away with this thinking, we're on to something here, the momentum's picking up, that's 2 wins out of 2, 6 points. Let's keep the momentum going. Next up, we did host Crewe Alexander at home. Now, Crewe at the time were a team in form. They played really good football against Salford, and we did manage to walk away with a 4-2 win. This was a fun game if you was there as part of Salford. Obviously, if you was there as Crewe, I can imagine it was quite upsetting. But Crewe were sort of on the front foot for the majority of the game, and then one decision from the referee, which, in my opinion, should count. The ball was put in the back of the net by Crewe and it was given as an offside. While the team was still celebrating, Elliot Watt was straight onto it, good football knowledge, put the ball down, played it. The referee had blew his whistle, the game was in play. Elliot Watt played the ball up, Luke Bolton crossed it across, Matt Smith tapped it in. I've not seen the stadium erupt like that for a while, but it was a great game of football regardless of the result. Obviously, it's great to say that because Salford were sort of expected to lose that game going into it, but we did manage to walk away 4-2 winners against Crewe Alexander. Matt Smith scored 2 of those, Ryan Watson got on the score sheet, and Kevin Burko was given the goal. I think there was a bit of a confusion whether it was Burko or Curtis Tilt, but it did go down officially as a Kevin Burko goal. Neil Wood started with a 4-3-3 formation. And we did finish up with 61% of the possession, 14 shots at goal, with 7 of those being on target. Crew did manage 14 shots at Alex Cairns, but only 3 managed to hit the target, with Alex Cairns saving 1 of those 3, finishing with a 33% save statistic. 2 yellow cards, but Crew did actually intercept the ball with us 11 times compared to Salford's 3. But we were so much more better with the ball in this game. Every time Salford went forward, you felt like they were dangerous. Like I say, Crew did have a spell where they did have us on the back foot. But once that second goal went in, and obviously the controversy of it, it seemed on the pitch like it shook the Crew players. Their heads went for a minute after, and we scored quite soon after that as well. So I think that did definitely change the way the game was going. But, hey, changed in our favour, so we'll take it. Big 3 points. As we did go away to Wrexham, who are sort of the conversation of League Two at the moment, aren't they? You know, the Disney documentary, everyone wants to play Wrexham. We did go out in force as well. We took over 700 down to Wales to watch this game. And, yeah, let's go into it. Now, Wrexham, for me and Myles went down to the stadium full of optimism. You know, we just won two back-to-back. We're hopeful for this. Wrexham are leaking goals, but they are also scoring a lot of goals. And I thought we started incredible in this game. It's probably one of the best team performances I've seen from Salford this season for the first 20 minutes. We played Wrexham off the park. The young goalkeeper they've got from Arsenal didn't look comfortable all game. He was spilling it. He was dropping it everywhere. The back four, when Salford play with the ball on the ground, they're almost unmatched in League Two. We've done it against all the big teams we played, from Preston to Leeds to Peterborough, you know, teams 2 divisions above us at times. We're playing them off the park when the ball is on the ground. It's when we resort to this long ball to Matt Smith, it just falls apart. We don't play football. I know it's League Two, and you know we're not expecting Premier League level football, but we're a better team when we actually play with the ball. And I think we resorted to long ball in this game. We started really well. Matt Smith scored the first goal. He scored both goals in this game as well. Technically, I feel for Matty Lund. You know, that should have been his goal, but it did hit Matt Smith on the way through, and Matt claimed the goal. But we scored. Everything looking really well. Scored again. Here we go. Salford's winning this. No way are we walking away from this. And after the second goal, it just went to pot. You know, Wrexham scored just before the half. And then, the second half was probably one of the worst performances I've seen from Salford. It was polar opposites from the first to the second. We just invited Wrexham. If you was in the stadium, you'll know, literally the second half, we sat 10 men behind the ball and we just let them come forward and shoot. And I don't think I'll be the only Salford fan saying you sort of expected us to lose. The way you was watching the game, we was like, we're not walking away from this. They're going to score at some point, which they did. And then the second they scored their second and the equaliser, it was like they're gonna win this game because we just invited pressure. We were literally letting them put crossing after crossing after crossing after crossing. And when Fletcher came on, you know, he bagged the equaliser and he looked dangerous for them. His experience coming into the pitch really put Salford on the back foot. And we stopped playing football. The second half, we didn't come out. We didn't play football. We were just booting it long to Matt Smith and hoping something can change. And inevitably it didn't. With the Wrexham game, though, we did play a 4-4-1-1 formation. 47% of the possession. Like I say, the first 20, I reckon the majority of that possession stat comes from the first 20 minutes because we were playing them off the park. And we just fell apart. You know, I can't go in any more detail than that. Out of the 10 shots we did have, 4 managed to hit the target, with 2 obviously going in the back of the goal. But when you compare this to Wrexham had 21 shots at Salford. 7 of them at the target, 3 of them at the back of the net. But to have 21 shots when they were played off the park for the first... I'd like to see how many of them shots were in the second half. If someone can put the stat for that in the comments below, that'd be great. Because I reckon the majority of them were the second half. But of the 7 shots on target, Cairns did actually manage to save 4 of them, 3 at the back of the net. But he walked away with a 57% save statistic. 4 yellow cards. We intercepted the ball 14 times over Wrexham's 4. So again, I'd love to see how many of them were in the first half, because Wrexham could not get near us for the first 20 minutes. But Salford lost the game themselves, and it was a tough trip back to Salford from Wrexham. knowing we should have won that game and been 3 out of 3. What can we do? Next game, we were back at home against Swindon Town. Now, Swindon Town, for me, I've been a bit up and down. They've been scoring for fun. But just before we played them, they'd had a few losses. So I was sort of expecting, if someone would have said before the game, you'll take a point against Swindon, I would have took that. But we were quite unlucky. It was a difficult one. I feel like we should have won, but we've done the same thing as Wrexham. We scored. The goals came from Ingram. Great run from Ingram from the back. Pushed all the way through. He was taking players on for fun in this game. And he managed to put the ball in the back of the net. But then obviously Curtis Tilt was sent off. But in this game, we were just inviting Swindon to shoot. We invited pressure on ourselves. It was a frustrating game at Moor Lane. It was just sort of, you kind of knew it was coming as well. But we did walk away 2-2. And before the game, if you'd have said, can you take a point? I'd have said I took a point. But yeah, you sort of felt like we should have won that. But the best story of this was Liam Hummels came off the bench, scored a last-minute equaliser when we were down to 10 men. Obviously, Curtis Tilt got sent off for bringing a player down in the box who was, it was a goal-scoring opportunity. But Hummels did save the day for Salford. The introduction to Hummels in this game was really good because he brought a new batch of energy with him into the pitch. So it was no surprise when he got on the score sheet. It's been the same with Kelly and Mai. He just added a bit of live wire into the wing play that Salford like to do. I'd like to see more of Hummels. He's not really featured much since, but I do think he's got a good future at Salford. He looks like a good player, still young, so I think Neil Wood's doing the right thing by embedding him into the squad quite slowly. But that was another point on the board from Salford as we started to climb the league and look at sort of playoff positioning as well. Off the back of Swindon, Salford did travel over to Doncaster, another team that were doing better than us in the league. They were higher than us. Got pulled off a couple good wins this season, Doncaster. So it'd be interesting to see how we played against this team. And we walked away 3-0 winners. Matt Smith scored a hat-trick. And again, I think Salford was one of the best games I've seen us play. And we controlled the game quite convincingly. Doncaster didn't really threaten us in this game. Salford were pushing forward. We were playing really good football on the floor with the ball. And obviously Matt Smith does what Matt Smith does and put the ball in the back of the net. Neil Wood did line up with a 4-1-4-1 formation for this game. 47% of the possession, but you usually expect that being the away team as well. The home team do tend to hold the ball quite well and move it around because they're familiar with the pitch, and obviously they've got the crowd on their side as well. But to come away with a 3-0 win and less possession just shows we were so much more dangerous with the ball going forward, which is something I've not been able to say about Salford so far this season. Salford did manage to pull off 11 shots, 4 of those hitting the target and obviously 3 of those in the back of the net. And Alex Cairns once again walked away with a clean sheet. The 4 times he was asked to make a save, he pulled them off. 100% save statistic. Big shouts to Alex Cairns, big fan of him this year. 2 yellow cards for Salford, and Doncaster actually intercepted the ball more than Salford. 11 times over Salford to 10, but it's been an impressive stat for Salford all season. We are winning the ball off the opposition, but we just need to start defending it when they win it back. Or scoring when we win it and going forward. Great performance against Doncaster. Really exciting to see where Salford were going, picking up momentum, and we were climbing up League 2. And seriously, fans were starting to talk about getting into the playoff area. I think we were 4 points off it at one point, and it did look like the team was gelling. The players have now started coming back into the squad from injury. And I'll just say at this point, it was against Doncaster where you started to look at the performances of Elliot Watt. I know some fans have said he's not been as good as he was last season, but for me, since he's come back into the squad, Salford have looked so much better with the ball. He brings a lot of composure in front of the back 4, but he's also distributing and he's getting assist stats as well. For me, Elliot Watt coming in has just been, it's been a game changer in the team. I feel like we're missing 1 or 2 more players. Callum Hendry, essential for me to come back, will be brilliant. But for me, Elliot Watt has been a key part of the run that Salford went on in October. He's back to full fitness. Obviously, came back at the end of September. Still playing half a game, but now he's been playing 90 minutes and Salford have looked so much more better with the ball, and he just brings an energy to the team that provides calmness in front of the back 4 at times. And I think this is the game where we've really seen it. I thought Elliot Watt was fantastic in this game. Obviously, Matt Smith picked up man of the match with 3 goals, as you'd expect, but we can't hide the fact that, having someone like Elliot Watt in the Salford team does provide a better level of performance. So off the back of a fantastic performance against Doncaster, Salford did travel on the road to Barrow. Barrow were a tricky team to play against. They were above us in the league. But yeah, I'd have took a point on the road at Barrow before the game. but I also kind of expected us to win it, just based off form at that time. And this was a boring game. I don't even want to go too much into this. 0-0. It was a snore fest. Nothing happened. Barrow didn't offer nothing. Salford didn't offer nothing. It was just you get them every year, don't you? You get them boring 1-0s, 0-0s, but this was an absolute snore fest. 4-1-4-1 formation picked by Neil Wood. Salford did have 61% of the possession. We had 0 shots on target. We had 9 shots in total. 9 shots is, 0 of them hit the target. So it's no wonder we didn't score. We didn't offer nothing. Barrow had 13 shots. 2 of them did hit the target. But there's not really much to say on this game. Snorefest. Another point. Straight off the back of Barrow, we did come back home to Moor Lane to play against Mansfield. Now, Mansfield, for me, we were unlucky against him. So I feel like we're doing this a lot with Salford. We were unlucky in this game. I thought we played really, really good football in patches. I thought we were the better team on the day. We did walk away with a 2-0 loss, though. Matt Smith scored the only goal for Salford in the game. But we did the same again. Started really, really well. Then the second half, we just invited pressure. There was, both of their goals, if we're being honest, were preventable. A frustrating game. Mansfield as well are a good team. Difficult to beat. And, before the game, again, if you'd have said we'd walk away with a point, I would have took a point. And this was where we sort of looked at it and went, we're missing something. The injuries, players have started coming back into the squad now, so it's not going to be long before Neil Wood's got a fully fit team ready. Obviously, we're still missing Callum Hendry at this point, still missing Samir Ashley, but we do have Theo Vassell back in the squad. McClellan, McElhenney have all come back into the squad. Elliot Watt's now back into the squad. Luke Bolton's currently out as well, so some key players are still missing, so it'll be interesting when Neil Wood gets them back, if we can start really stringing a set of performances and any additions that we get in January to add to that and really go on a playoff run. But at the moment, we are still struggling to climb the table. We have a good couple run of games, and then we seem to hit 2 or 3 back-to-back that knock us. But we also have played a lot of games this season. We've not got into Peterborough because it is, like I said in the last episode, we're only focusing on the league this year with this. But Peterborough, I just want to touch on. The first game we were unlucky. Peterborough scored in the last minute. 2-2. Forced a replay away. They came to Moor Lane. And again, we were robbed. We were robbed against Peterborough. I'm sick of saying it. I've done a full rant, but we were robbed. I think that was the best Salford performance of the season. The second half against Peterborough at home was incredible. We played football. We had the ball on the floor, and Peterborough could not match Salford. The referee robbed that game from us. Anyone who's seen it will understand why. Went out on penalty shootouts. But that brought an end to all the cup competitions that Salford are in, which for me is unfortunate because I would like to have seen us go through the FA Cup to the next round against Doncaster, where I think, again, we might have been successful, moved into the third round and hopefully got one of the big Premier League boys. But it's not to be, but that means we can now focus on our EFL League 2 run and try and nick a promotion spot. It's going to be tough, let's be honest, but there is still a lot of games to play. And League 2 this year has been incredible. It's been exciting. Every team loses. Every team's winning. You can't really predict a game at the moment in League 2. But we just need to put a run together. We've shown we're capable of it. We're playing against good opposition, especially in the Cup. The way we played against Preston, the way we played against Leeds, the way we played against Peterborough. I've said it earlier, but if we can bring that performance level to League 2, a lot of teams are going to struggle to play against us, and I'm hoping we do that. But the last game of this 10 video that we're going to touch on is Gillingham, and yeah, it was another loss for Salford, 3-1 on the road. Again, Matt Smith scored in a 3-4-3 formation, but we just weren't at the races. We started really well. I thought we put the pressure on Gillingham in the first half, managed to walk in at half-time, 1-1. But as always, with the story of Salford so far this season, second half, we've just not been good enough. I didn't manage to go down to Gillingham as I was working away, but defending balls coming in from crosses from the side, especially the way Gillingham play. Gillingham are a very wing direct team. They put crosses in, they score, they cause hassle in the box. We should be ready for that. And it was just poor defending for the 2 goals in the second half. Unfortunate. Gillingham are a decent team though, so it's not like we lost to anyone we should be expecting to win. I would have took a point on the road at Gillingham. But yeah, 3-1 loss to end this 10 section. I think October though, overall for Neil Wood, was a very good month. We've just got to bring that into November now as well. But Salford did walk away with 55% of the possession. Out of 15 shots, Salford did manage to put 4 on target, with Gillingham having 10 shots and managing to put 5 on target. Obviously, 3 of those hit the back of the net. From 5 shots on Alex Cairns' goals, he managed to save 1 of them, resulting in a 20% save statistic. 1 yellow card for Salford, but we did manage again 13 interceptions over Gillingham's 4, which again we didn't do anything with. I said on the last video, from the next 10, I was looking at potentially Salford hitting 15 points. Sounded a bit mad when I said it because of the way we started the season. But we did actually pick up 14 from a potential 30 points that were on offer. And that shows Salford did start to find some sort of consistency, and we played well, especially the month of October. We played really, really well, and we picked up points even when we shouldn't have picked up points, but we also lost points when we probably should have picked up points. Mansfield being the prime example of that. But yeah, I hope Salford, now the cup competitions are over, can really start to find some form. Now, coming into the next 10, I'll do a season so far after we hit this, and we will be at 30 games for the EFL League 2 season. That'll finish at Crawley Town at home. Now, the next 10 coming up, we do have MK Dons this Saturday at home. We've got Stockport away, league leaders at the moment, playing some phenomenal football. We've got Bradford away, Wimbledon at home, Colchester away, Tranmere at home, Grimsby at home, Accrington Stanley away, Forest Green at home, Crawley Town at home. We've got a lot of home games coming up, which is good, but we're also starting to hit that cycle now where we play teams for the second time as well. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's a difficult run, this. It's a difficult run. Some teams really in form, some teams flying up the table that you wouldn't expect, Crawley being one of them. I know they've sort of started to lose a few games back to back, but they did start really well this season, and obviously they got something from Salford as well. So I am going to say, I'm going to predict 19 points from this. Callum Hendry coming back in, Luke Bolton coming back in. We've got a lot of the injuries that were out at the start of the season, especially in the last 10. I'm going to say Salford are going to start putting together a run. I think January, though, for Salford is a massive month. We need to reinforce some positions, whether it's loans or we get a few players in. But ideally for me, the biggest January we could have would be tying down the contracts of Bolton, Hendry and Elliot Watt. If we can do that, I don't want to say it, but I'd take that as a January window. I think we need another striker, and I think we need another centre-back. But if we can tie down them 3 players going into next year, I think that would be a good January as well. But yeah, like I say, I'm going to say 19 points. I don't know where they're going to come from. I think there's a few teams there that I would expect Salford to beat, especially at home. Yeah, there's a few teams there that are going to be difficult. I don't know where the 19 points are going to come from. I'm looking at it going, I'm a bit mad for saying they'll win there. But I think the majority of them at home, we've not been great. It sounds weird saying this, but we've not been great at home. But we've got a lot of games at home in this block of 10, a lot of difficult games as well. But some of the teams that we are playing are teams we've already beat on the road this year. So I'm hoping Salford can start building up that momentum, get the injured players in, make 1 or 2 signings in January, and really push on for a playoff spot. Especially now the cup competitions have come to an end, let's sort of nail down and try and pick up as many points and really do a playoff push like we did last year. Second half of the season, Salford really picked up momentum and we climbed that table pretty quickly. It's so close in League 2 right now that literally 3 or 4 wins back to back, you're right up there and in the mixer. So that's where we need to be looking. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say 19 points from a potential 30. I'm not going to say where they're going to come from. I'm not going to say how they're going to come. But that's what I'm putting my money on. I think to summarise the last 10, Salford have played some good football. It's been a much better block than the first 10 of the season. And I'm hoping Salford can continue the consistency that they've been bringing throughout the month of October. We just need to make it a little bit tighter going forward, because we are throwing games away where we should be winning. Wrexham example, Mansfield as well. Like, we're playing good football, but we're throwing the games away. If we can continue that momentum going in, we need to play much more better than we did against Gillingham. But I think Salford can pull in some big results and cause some good upsets going forward, especially now the injuries are starting coming back. I've seen that Callum Hendry is now back in training, and Samir Ashley, which is positive for us as well. I'd like to see what Ashley can bring to the table with Salford. Don't think he's had much of a chance yet since his move from Colchester, but I think once he's back in the squad, we'll really see what he's about, as he was a good player for Colchester as well. I'll be back after the Crawley Town game, end of January, hopefully full of praise, saying we've done some great recruiting in January, we pulled off some massive wins, and we're now in the playoff spots. But you never know, do you? We could be bottom of the league. but that's part of being in the EFL and the beauty of it. Make sure you click subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think of Salford's season so far. Let me know if I'm talking nonsense. Let me know what you think of certain games where I've said we played well. Did we play rubbish? But yeah, make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias at Generational Red. And we'll be back straight after every game with the match reviews. But for the season so far, I'll see you at the end of January.
Shadi on the